Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating connection, the one between incredibly intense prayer and what seems like impossible healing. We're looking at three true stories shared by the late Dr. Mustafa Mahmoud, who was a brilliant Egyptian doctor and philosopher. And these accounts, they really challenge our whole understanding of what faith can actually do. So let's get into it.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Can faith really heal your body? And I'm not just talking about minor aches and pains, I mean life-threatening illnesses. To start exploring this, we're going to begin with what might be the most astonishing account Dr. Mahmoud ever shared.
All right, our first story kicks off in Morocco, way back in 1968. Dr. Mahmoud met a French woman. She was in her 60s at the time, and she told him about this absolutely pivotal event from 30 years before. And believe it or not, it all started with a dream, a really, really powerful, inexplicable dream.
So get this, she was just a tourist, not particularly religious at all. But one night, she has this incredibly vivid dream where the Prophet Muhammad hands her a Quran. The vision was so real, so powerful, that she woke up literally trembling. It completely changed her. Her friends thought she was crazy, but she ignored them, stayed in Morocco, learned Arabic, and eventually converted to Islam.
So 15 years fly by. She's built this new life, all rooted in her faith. But then she makes a discovery that threatens to tear it all down. A hard lump in her breast. And the diagnosis, it was just devastating.
That's what the surgeon told her, point blank. It was late-stage cancer, and it had already spread to the muscles in the chest wall. It was totally inoperable. Her old friends from France happened to be visiting, and they were horrified. They were begging her, come back to Paris for treatment. They basically saw her illness as this tragic proof that her faith was a delusion. But she refused to go. And this is where the story takes a turn that is just, well, incredible. That very same night, after her friends left, with the doctors having completely given up, she turned to the only place she felt she had left. The speed of what happened next is just mind-blowing. That night, she just prayed and wept. She was speaking to God as if he were standing right there in the room with her. She said it felt like every single cell in her body was praying along with her. She eventually just fell asleep right there on her prayer mat. When she woke up the next morning, she put her hand on her chest, and there was nothing. The tumor was just gone. She rushes to the doctor, who examines her in complete and utter disbelief. He had to check his own records to make sure it was her, and sure enough, the note was there. Late-stage breast cancer, inoperable. But there was absolutely no physical evidence of it left. At all. Now, a story like that sounds like a 1 in a billion miracle, right? But then, Dr. Mahmoud shared that he himself had two experiences that were shockingly similar, cases where prayer seemed to directly, physically intervene in his health. So in 1969, he gets hit with this excruciating pain in his back. An X-ray shows a massive kidney stone. Now, the only treatment back then was this major invasive surgery, and he just felt like he couldn't physically handle it. He was, in his own words, terrified. He goes home in this state of pure fear and just starts to pray. And he described it not like a ritual, but like he was completely dissolving into the prayer. Just this total plea for a way out. And get this, just half an hour later, 30 minutes, he feels this sudden urge. He goes to the bathroom and passes what he described as a liter of paste, like the consistency of tahini. That massive stone had completely disintegrated into a fine powder. In just 30 minutes, no surgery, the problem just vanished. Okay, if you thought that was wild, his second experience was even more bizarre. While he was in Libya, he developed this strange condition where his body just stopped absorbing nutrients from food. Anything he ate would pass right through him, completely undigested. Carrots came out as carrots, tomatoes as tomatoes.
The effect was catastrophic. He lost 10 kilograms, that's 22 pounds, in just 5 days. And as a doctor, he knew there was no medicine for something like this, a functional disorder. He felt completely helpless, no medical solution in sight. That night, in total desperation, he just repeated, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, for hours, his whole body shaking, until he finally fell asleep. He woke up the next morning, and he was completely normal. The condition was gone, just as suddenly as it appeared.
So we have a vanishing tumor, a pulverized kidney stone, and a completely reversed digestive failure. What on earth connects these three incredible events? Well, Dr. Mahmoud argues it's not just the act of praying, it's the state of your mind and soul when you do it.
The key, he says, is an Arabic term khushu. Now, you often see it translated as humility or concentration, but it's so much deeper than that.
It's a state of total, all-consuming presence, where your mind, your body, your soul, everything is completely focused and submissive before the divine. It's the difference between just saying the words and actually connecting.
So this distinction is absolutely crucial. On one side, you've got what he calls ritual prayer. Just going through the motions, a duty you perform while your mind is a million miles away thinking about groceries or work. But on the other side, you have true prayer, and that is defined by khushu. It's interesting, the Arabic word for prayer, salah, is actually linked to the word for connection, sila. So this prayer is all about making that connection, and that means you have to shed all those worldly concerns first.
So how in the world do you achieve a state like that? Dr. Mahmoud uses this really powerful Quranic metaphor. Take off your shoes. What it means is you have to mentally take off all your problems, your anxieties, your to-do lists, and leave them behind you before you even begin. Then the phrase Allahu Akbar, which means God is greater, is meant to be like a switch. You're declaring that God is greater than anything and everything that's cluttering up your mind. It's meant to silence all that inner chatter. And when you do that, you create this state of complete openness, not to your own inner strength, but to a divine one.
To really bring this all home, Dr. Mahmoud returns to the powerful words of that French woman, the one who started this whole journey. Her perspective, as someone who came to the faith from the outside, really offers the most potent summary of all.
What she said to him just gets right to the heart of everything. She said, "You Muslims have a great jewel, and you don't know its value. This jewel is called Islam." For her, that jewel was this incredible potential for a deep, life-altering connection. A connection so powerful it could literally defy medical science.
So, what all these stories seem to suggest is that prayer, when it's practiced with this deep state of khushu, can be way more than just a spiritual ritual. It might just be a force capable of profound physical transformation. And it leaves us with one last big question to think about. What potential is lying untapped inside us if we could only truly understand the value of that jewel?